JLove, EDA 77700, 5.04 submission of final leadership ed design based research brief. My research brief starts off with my problem of practice, my problem statement. My problem statement regards college and career readiness counseling for low SES students, for students in middle school. My problem statement was developed as after considering the achievement gaps that are prevalent in low socioeconomic schools. The context and background for my study is Normandy Schools Collaborative. Normandy Schools Collaborative is formerly Normandy School District. It's a school district that's on the border of St. Louis City and St. Louis County. It's a district that has had better success than it has now. Transfer rule, just historical, really failure, prompted by a lot of things that was not in Normandy's control, has caused the current condition that it's not favorable where college and career readiness is regarded. Years and years of failure, student achievement, years and years of poor performance on standardized tests, and a long standing, well, at least a recent poor history of leadership choices. A lot of those problems compounded and ultimately led to the district losing its accreditation. The district lost its accreditation. It was a ripple effect because students, per the Missouri transfer law, could leave Normandy, and they did, a lot of them. A lot of them went to Francis Howell. But the districts that accepted, in this case, Normandy students, Normandy had to pick up their tab, paying for transportation, paying for the academics. Certainly, students are money in education. The warm body count. It's so the state can essentially pay the school for teaching the student, and that's why attendance statistics and stuff like that are so important, because it's money. When Normandy lost around 20% of the student body, it also impacted the money. There was a lot of fiscal problems that went along with a district that was already struggling, a district that had accepted Wellston District, the only other failed school. So basically, the two worst districts in the state were combined to create really what continues to be a terrible mess. A very important part of the research brief is the permission to do the research. Multiple times I've requested in writing and then in person. In one case, I requested the letter granting me permission to do the research. Although I've had a conversation with the assistant superintendent who was thrilled about the ideal that I have for increasing students' college and career readiness awareness, which ultimately is it's a it's a prerequisite to increasing college and career readiness. Assistant superintendent was very eager to and very encouraging about the idea. However, I'm still waiting on the letter. My most recent request I sent was today, um, and hopefully I can get this letter really soon so I can feel confident that, okay, the district is with me on this, and I'm ready to go. I'm geared. I have my ideal and everything together. I have my team, my design thinking team, and I'm ready. I'm just waiting on the district, patiently waiting on the district. Population description. My problem of practice focuses on low socioeconomic communities, specifically middle school students. I am concerned that the achievement gap for low socioeconomic students, for underprivileged students, for marginalized students, for poor students, often the minorities, there's just wrong, just wrong. I mean, you have the goals that are established, the mission statements, and the lofty vision statements that speak to how really the district is going to do something that's impossible. Because if students are already achieving in my case, according to the data, 8th grade students are achieving 2, 3 grade levels. Some 8th grade students are, according to MAP data, according to IRBB diagnostic data, according to really day-to-day data, 8th grade students are 4th grade, 5th grade, some 6th grade. Those skills are not just magically appearing. And now when the 8th grade students in a very short school year are promoted to high school, and then the expectation, according to the mission statements, for them to all of a sudden really magically figure out what they're going to do, even with support from the high school counselor, figure out what they're going to do with the rest of their life, and they can't read as well as they're supposed to. Their math proficiency schools are not as they're supposed to, and in some instances, the students are not even aware of what college options are, what work options are, and how those options relate to their interests and their natural skills in some cases. And so my population is really focusing on the supports that are critical for students in marginalized communities. Drivers. Investigating my topic, I was able to really figure, I saw that the drivers were multiple. And my problem is college and career readiness counseling. That figuring out college and career readiness in 8th grade, it's not like high school college and career readiness where the students are indicating their readiness through exams, through benchmarks, steps that are established through the high school curriculum. Sometimes that entails the college visit, the college letter, ultimately the financial aid, the surveys the questionnaires that determine what the interests are and things like that. Well, that's the big way to figure it all out. Were they ready for high school? Were they ready for college after high school? And the measure was taken during high school. Well, my problem of practice certainly is focusing on the middle school level. And so the secondary school level is later. My concern, based on observation, is the students are not even aware of what options are there. And so the drivers of that, there's not enough counselors to even get these messages out there to meet with the students and to develop individual plans, which is required by the state college counseling curriculum for students to have individual plans starting in elementary school. And so the drivers of not having enough counselors is a ripple of nonsense. Another driver is the counselor's training. Even when there are counselors, which counselor ratio is far, far, far beyond the American School Counseling Association recommendation of 250 to 1. The numbers are enormity on around 427 to 1, where students need specialized specialized plans, specialized time, specialized communication. They don't receive their specialized and individualized attention when the counselor is overwhelmed and trying to do administrative tasks, trying to do lunch duty, and a lot of things that interfere with the counselor's direct contact with students, direct work with planning post-secondary opportunities. Additional drivers are okay, I mentioned the ratio, counselor training. The counselors are not even leaving college prepared to address the modern college and career readiness expectations and standards. If middle school counselors implement individual career and academic plans, ICAP, and teach the core knowledge, attitudes, and skills for pathways to success, and if parents monitor and support the application of these skills through ICAP activity logs, counselors will increase students' career awareness, and students will demonstrate learning by producing higher assessment results on a career readiness post-test. All the places we will go. Studying my problem of practice, studying the literature for my problem of practice, has taken me on a journey, a true journey, an emotional journey. It's been emotional to witness instance upon instance failing a whole community of people, a whole segment of society, that being the marginalized communities. Not necessarily the black people, but the marginalized communities, the Latinos, I don't want to, yes, the minorities, women too. So education is unethical in a lot of instances. There's bias. There's traditional structures that are perpetuating poor outcomes for low socioeconomic students. The literature suggests that education in public schools is still structured on the factory model, a model that Dewey established when things were different, where the country was supporting the industrial changes and ultimately the wars that went along with the industrial interests. Now it's a different society that does not only function according to preparing industry. Education transcends industries, it transcends buildings. And the literature suggests that there must be more effective, more practical, more appropriate means of supporting the educational needs of underprivileged students. As I continue to explore the literature, my eyes were raised and watered from sadness with the numbers, the extreme, the low college matriculation rate, the high school dropout rate, and ultimately the subsequent non-preparation of citizens to function in society, productively in society. Although I am the driver, the conductor of the train, I'm fortunate that I have a design thinking team of stakeholders who have already contributed by listening to my ideals and in a couple cases by suggesting edits to some of my strategies for a prototype for improving college career readiness counseling outcomes for 8th grade students. That team consists of a math teacher, 8th grade math teacher, 8th grade counselor, a 7th grade social studies teacher, 8th grade ELA teacher, and then an operation lead the way teacher who is formerly a 8th grade and 7th grade ELA teacher. We have met a couple times on Zoom. All of us work in the same building, and so these team members are accessible and fortunately willing to serve and support me on my mission to develop a prototype to address extreme disparity in college and career readiness outcomes. In order to address the issue or the organizational issue and to come up with a solution that would support the goals and aligns with the goals and objectives of the organization. In order to do that, I needed to have an instrument that could do that. And in this case, that instrument is a process called design thinking. Design thinking is a 5-stage process to address for an organization to address its own issues. And instead of seeking outside support from specialists that often don't know the thing that they need to know to solve the local problem. And so empathy is it's a critical step in the design thinking process. Empathy entails getting to know who you're serving, getting to know what the problem is, to get into the core of the problem, which involves needs assessment, which involves an empathy generator. And so there are multiple empathy generators, ranging from just simple observation, interviews, data collection, data analysis, but ultimately, the empathy is the concept of empathy is to understand the problem, understand the user, the need of the user, and to develop a solution that fits the need of the user in that particular instance. Whereas even from school to school within the same district, the need may be similar. For example, students need to have better reading skills, but the way that need is addressed may be different in school B than school A, and that could be based on the assessment of the needs for those particular students in that particular school setting, which could be staffing, could be technology and material based, could be parental intervention, or a range of other factors that subsequently contribute to the outcomes. The empathy generator is where the scholar practitioner learns what he or she is, who he or she is dealing with. And so his or her solution will match the audience. It's critical, it's ethical, and it's professional to avoid plagiarism. Because plagiarism is like a trap, because you can plagiarize and be penalized without even recognizing that you borrowing someone's work, even when you attempt to give him or her credit for their work. If you don't do it in the right way, the APA 7 way, if you don't write it right, you don't type it right, you don't word it correctly, you can be dinged for plagiarizing. And then that's bad. And so to avoid plagiarism, I am certainly giving credit where credit is due, and I'm making sure that I word my citations and my references according to paraphrasing, but certainly paraphrasing the words of the author or the authors, and giving him or her credit, giving them credit, citing the dates, citing the information, citing the location of the source, and so that anyone who's reviewing my research can not only know that the research is based on peer-reviewed literature, but also they can find that peer-reviewed literature and advance their own thoughts, own plans, and own initiatives to implement best practices and stuff for, in my case, for college and career readiness counseling outcomes.